Eugene, 5 weeks away from home, and first day back at the gym. First of all, we go back. It seems like a long time ago, a lifetime ago. You went to Vegas, Dan Hooker, Dustin Poirier. What? Before we get to the fight, what was it like travelling with everybody shut down? Is there people moving, or what's happening?
Well, I was definitely amongst a small minority of people that were travelling. Yeah, I mean, every airport was, like operating on a skeleton crew. Auckland Airport was barely, there was nobody there. Like, it was a ghost town. Same as LAX, was, running on a skeleton crew as well. Las Vegas was a little bit more busy, disturbingly. But yeah, just the travel was, I don't think I'll ever experience anything like that travel again. Like, I was on, I'm on empty planes. Some of those planes, there was like 15 of us or 10 of us. No one in the airport, no queues. Getting into America was really bizarre. It's probably the first time I got to the Vegas end where no one looked at my passport. I put it up on the table and she just thumbed me through. I was like, she didn't even want to look at it. She was like, she was kind of, I thought she was saying, look, if you're willing to gamble and come into this state, come into this city, if you're willing to take that gamble, then go ahead, mate. It's kind of what I felt. So, yeah, it was a little worrying, but yeah, it was a very unique travel. I'll probably never experience that again, hopefully.
And the build up to fight week, is that on how small was the scale compared to normal?
Yeah, again, there wasn't all the hoopla, but it was still like what they needed to do, like all the protocols that they put in place and the logistics and how you moved around and how you got tested, and was world class, second to none. Like, it was very strict, and we had to follow a very precise procedure in terms of our movement and where we isolated and who we interacted with through the whole week. I can't even count how many things I've had stuck down my throat and up my nose, but I'm probably one of the most, I'm willing to say that I'm probably one of the most tested people in this country right now. Yeah.
Now we go to the fight. Before the fight, were you happy with Dan? Were you happy with the preparation that he'd had?
Yeah, yep. I felt Dan had done a good job in getting himself, in as best shape as he could in the time that we had, and I felt that the coaches we'd done a reasonable job, like putting together a strategy, and I felt confident that we could pull that off. That's why we were there. I thought we could win. So.
Well, just watching from home, round number one, I thought, this is Melbourne all over again. That was top class display.
Yeah, and round number one is all, had me buzzing, I thought that Dustin hadn't come on yet, so I knew he would, as the rounds went by, he would be a tougher and tougher challenge, obviously. But I thought if we could keep round one up, and maybe even, and give it some room to make some mistakes, but keep basically round one up, we could pull something off here. But the story of the fight didn't go like that. But yeah, I was very happy with round one.
At the end of round two, it was almost pack up and come home.
Yeah, round two, again, it was like, don't fix what's not broke. Let's get behind our jab. Let's keep circling out. Stay disciplined. And just like I suspected, Poirier started to come on a bit more, so it's a bit more of an even round. but I felt we shaded round 2 just. But at the same time, especially near the end of that round, even though Dan finished with that really good flurry, there was I could see there's definitely some things there that were like, raising my eyebrows a bit.
And then, what's your read on what happened from then on?
From then on, we weren't able to dictate the pace of the fight. Basically, we were not able to slow the fight down to a pace that we could keep. And all credit to Dustin, he was able to pick the pace up on us, and especially when he started to get when he got a little clue that we were starting to fatigue, it just encouraged him, and then he just built momentum, and it got harder and harder to stop, because as he realised that he was doing a really good job of fatiguing us, he just picked it up, and Dan being Dan, before the heart and all the toughness that he has, he did what he needed to do to stay in the fight. But yeah, then it swung Poirier's way for sure.
Yeah, and Dan was able to get him down, but just couldn't do enough work on the ground. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great strategy at that point, considering the fatigue that he was under and the shots that he was taking, and not necessarily the shots that he was taking, but at that point, his reaction time and his vision, his peripheral vision, was like just dissipating rapidly. So to close the distance right up was a great plan. So whether he used the position to his best advantage or not that's not up to the judges to decide. But yeah, I thought it was a good way to go. Yeah.
The positives to take away from that fight?
Look, I mean, the positives are that, that's a former interim title holder. That is the creme de la creme of the sport. There's not much higher you can get than that. And that we had our moments in that fight, and that although we won't talk about it openly in the public, within our circle, within our tight circle, within our team, we know what Dan is capable of, and it just reaffirms for us that where we're at, where he's at. And I think that's the positive that I take out of that fight. Yeah.
Well, you moved on from then, or you had to stay in Vegas for another week before you went to Fight Island for Alex Volkanovski.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't come back because obviously if I came back I had to do the 2 weeks quarantine, so I couldn't leave. So I just bided my time in some dingy Las Vegas motel. And I just isolated in Vegas, to be honest, because I went out a couple times to get food, but it was, in my opinion, it was diabolical when I went out into public. Like a lot of people over there, they just have a different attitude to where I've come from, which is like you could say is one of the strictest countries, and then I went to the polar opposite of that, to one of the loosest countries on the planet. So it was like it had an effect on me. So I went out and got my essentials, my food, and then I just stayed inside. So it was definitely a really different Vegas trip to the ones I'm normally accustomed to. But yeah, and then after that I just bided my time, and then I flew straight to Abu Dhabi.
And what's Fight Island? Because everybody wants to fight there, everybody wants to go there. What's it like?
Yeah. I mean, you know what Fight Island is. It's a great bit of marketing. As far as I know, it's a man-made island, and it's it's 30 metres from the mainland, and it's, there's a big bridge that's been purpose built to get there. Like, yeah, I'm not, by its true definition, you could probably call it an island, but it's, perhaps not. But no, Fight Island, look, compared to Vegas, oh man, it was complete turnaround. Completely safe. They had staff there that had isolated for 2 weeks already and been tested, all the staff. Everybody that was in that area, and it was a huge area, it included several hotels and several theme parks. It was a massive area, but everybody allowed into that area was, you could say with 100% assurance that they didn't have COVID-19 or anything like that. So I felt very safe. It was very professional. There would have been, like, for every person there was there from the UFC, there would have been 10 staff in hazmat suits, like, attending to them every time. So yeah, Fight Island was a pleasure, to be honest, and very comforting.
Well, the fight itself, now I remember the interview we did before they fought the first time, and you said Max was one of the hardest guys to figure out a plan for. Was it any easier second time around?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't any easier. And it was one of the reasons I was very hesitant to jump into that fight straight away. Just because I felt we didn't have enough time to put together a good sound strategy. Look, once we decided that we were going to take the fight, we all got on board and put our minds and our bodies to work, and we got something together that we thought was adequate. And it was adequate by the skin of our teeth. It was adequate. So we got the result, and we were very happy to get the result. Yeah.
Sounds like you're back in Vegas.
There's a guy, just see if that's real, Tony. We felt we were comfortable that we won the fight, and we were especially comfortable after watching it a second time, because it's the kind of fight that paints a different picture the more you watch it, because there's so many subtleties and intricacies happening that they need second, third, fourth view. Given that the judges don't have that, but you appreciate the fight and you appreciate the position that we're in after you watch the fight over and over a few times. I was definitely of the opinion that we won the fight by a whisker.
Well, you come back and you couldn't come straight to Auckland, you ended up in Christchurch.
Yeah, I get, like, you don't really get a choice when you lock down, right? We do your 14 days, so when we arrived they just told us we're off to Christchurch, and then yeah, that was that. I was with Brad Riddell, who's from Christchurch, so he was pretty happy about that. But for me, obviously my friends and family are in Auckland, so I definitely didn't want to go down to Christchurch. But it is what it is. I'm a big advocate for my country, and I'm a big advocate for how we're keeping it safe. I can't advocate it and then just because I'm a part of it be against it. So I was more than willing to do my 14 days, although I did find it pretty hard.
Well, you come straight back and you're only seen the boys for the first time today. Do you like what you see, particularly with Israel?
Yeah, I mean, Israel's in fantastic shape. and that's all I wanted him to really emphasise was getting himself in really immaculate shape, and I had some drills for him to do to program in, but a big part of what I wanted him to do was get himself in immaculate shape, which he's done, and now we can start to work on strategy and all the rest of it.
So it's a bit too early to ask you those sort of things, but what I do want to ask you about is the other fighters in the team. You got Brad, of course, Kai, Shane Young. Is there anything on the immediate horizon?
Yeah, I mean, those guys, I'm hoping to get all those guys matched up around that, on the same card, or at least around that date. And like, it's a challenge. A lot of international fighters aren't fighting, but I'm not going to say I'm like any more important than anybody else, but we're bringing something unique. So the UFC is willing to work with us at all levels. So that's something that that's a kind of like respect that we've earned over the last few years. Yeah. And
I just want to mention something that people don't see so much. They see you in the arenas and everything like that, but you did a special job that you were very proud of today.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I guess I don't feel that comfortable talking about these things, but me and Israel visited a young child named Tyson, who's got leukemia and is going through chemotherapy right now up at Starship Hospital. He's a big fan of the gym and the UFC and Israel, and yeah, just something. One of the real benefits of getting to this level, getting these guys to this level, is the joy you can give someone, the way you can turn around someone's mood or turn around someone's day, turn around someone's mindset just through a short visit. Like for us it was 10 minutes out of our day, but for that kid it's something that can have a drastic change in his life, and you could see straight away it just lifted his spirits, and it's just yeah, it's just one of those things we get to do. We do it, like, that's the thing, like true charity work, it doesn't get, like, you just do it. You don't have to, you don't put it on your social media, or you don't put it in front of a camera. And my guys, my UFC guys, do more charity work off camera than they ever do on camera. And that's true charity work, and people don't see that side, but that's like, it's genuine, you know.
I know it is, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. And I know you guys wouldn't talk about it unless somebody pressed you. So hey, thanks very much, Eugene. Yeah, and we look forward to following you through this camp with Izzy and the rest of the boys.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. It's a good one. Big announcements coming soon with the boys. Thanks, Tony.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for that.